Welcome back, everyone. Recently, I've been seeing a bit of chatter, and there has been a few kind of questions posed to me in different forums about, well, the title of this video, is it dangerous to invest in uranium in Africa? And so I've been seeing some people talking about concerns that they have and whatever, and some specific cases. And I'm going to kind of go through that in this video and what are my thoughts on the question titling this video. I want to start by very clearly making a point that Africa isn't Africa. What do I mean here? I mean that there are very different regions in Africa and with very different, well, geologies for one, but security situations, export histories, and all sorts of things like that. So when I say that Africa is in Africa, I mean if you're looking at Namibia versus the Congo versus West Africa, it's very different things. So we're not going to group, I don't want to group them together because I think that there's areas like Namibia, Botswana, and in the southern region of Africa that are excellent places to invest, potentially even better than some what people would call uh, G7 countries. Let's go with that. So now let's get to the inspiration behind this video and what many people have been seeming to talk about recently, and that is West Africa, particularly Niger. Now, there's a lot of people that have been talking about travel advisories and basically, it seems to me, peddling a bit of fear about investing in Niger. And while some of the concerns may be warranted, I've thought, well, about quite a bit about this in terms of the uranium lens. And while it sounds scary, I'm just going to take you through the logistics of why it's not near as you'd think when you think of, oh, disruptive group taking over uranium. Okay, so recently I've seen some people make some comments about how there was an attack in Kure. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Forgive me if I'm butchering this. And they were insinuating that, well, that's in Niger and uranium deposits in Niger could spread. And it could, but going down a bit to a bit more of a local level, the distance between Kure and Agadez, and again, forgive me, where which is the closest city to the Dasa deposit, and Maduela is even further, but Dasa is even further than Agadez. Um, but it's a 13-hour and 51-minute drive over almost 900 kilometers through a desert, and there's multiple G7 military bases in the region with drones, and the economy probably doesn't want you going there to disrupt one of their biggest industries. And if you want to look at, oh, well, there's for sure closer border towns to the region. Well, yeah, there's one 8.5 hours away with 500 kilometers, but you still have to drive into the desert into a region that very much does not want you there. Now, could there be local issues? Absolutely. But again, there's still military bases and there's still, as I'll get to in a sec, probably a one-way trip. So this is a map of military bases in the Sahel region. And as you can see, there's multiple bases from multiple different countries. Why is that? Well, the region is, well, for one, important to many different countries, the stability of the region. There's a lot of countries there, a lot of borders, a lot of um, materials that come from there that is important to global trade. So you can see that there are a coordinated effort in keeping the region safe. So you see the base in the middle with near Agadez, and that's the closest city to Dasa, and Arlit at the top is closest to Maduela. And really the deposits are mainly between there. And then if you look more to the left near Mali, that is where the instability has been in large part. Now, assuming you wanted to drive 15 hours into the desert to disrupt a uranium mine, it would sound very scary to mix terrorist with uranium. Agree, and I'm for sure on the watch list after saying those two together in the same sentence in this video. But anyway, the point is that are they going to then operate the uranium mine once they get there? Possibly. But like, even if they did, what are they going to do with the uranium? Are they going to steal it? Okay, but then you have to transport it out again. 1 day drive, half a day drive in one direction, outrunning multiple militaries with drones. And then are they going to use it? Well, how? They can be tracked because it's radioactive. You can probably track it more easily than, let's say, gold. And then what are they going to sell it to who? They have secret contacts in the uranium supply industry. Like the uranium is very useful if you can enrich it. But how are they going to enrich it? The point is this is not gold. They can't take it, get away, hide, and use it to buy whatever. This is a substance that makes you a priority target, makes you difficult to conceal, difficult to move, and you would have to get it in basically the middle of nowhere surrounded by security. It seems like a terrible risk reward setup for a disruptor. Now, I don't really want to harp on this point, but it's important because we're talking about uranium, not something like gold. You can't just stick this in your coat and sneak into a crowd and then just kind of pull it out and use it to, do something, buy something, whatever. No, if you want to use uranium, you need multi-billion-dollar facilities. You need to convert it and then enrich it and then fabricate it into whatever you're uh, using it for. This will take years and resources, and you can't just pay someone in the street with uranium because you have a barrel of yellow cake. I don't know. It's just it's very very different operating a semi-bulk operation versus interfering with a gold mine. And when I pointed out some of this to someone in a conversation, they said, "Well, yeah, but they could take hostages." And my thought was just, okay, to what end? Why? So you go take a long, dangerous trek out. I say dangerous because if you're a target and you're heading basically along the road, single file towards a military base, and you're a known disruptor, that would be what I would qualify as dangerous. But you have a long road in to get to somewhere where you can, I mean, if all you wanted was hostages, you could probably do that anywhere. Yes, you may get some political PR, but this becomes a one-way trip, and realistically, what are you going to do with it? And it just there's no way to hide after. There's no real way of escape. It doesn't make logical sense. Now that being said, is it guaranteed that people act logically? No, but realistically think it through. Think through what are you worried about happening? And I mean, sure, there's other concerns that people could have with investing in regions that they may not be comfortable with, including tax and other monetary investment reasons. And the one thing I'll say is if you mess with a tax code, you risk losing future investment. And that can be a big deal. Now, that's not to say that people won't do it. I'm just saying that it's a risk in every region. And I mean, you can even look at some of the actions that have been taken in with regards to natural resources, even in Canada, for example, and you look at certain things that have been done, and you can think, wow, these don't want the locals don't seem to want money being spent on investment here. And my point is just this is a global issue. It's not a regional thing, and the versus the importance to locals. If you say, okay, we want to build a mine in Canada, your initial response would be, what are you gonna what what environmental damage is it going to do, and is it worth it? Versus in another region, it might be, okay, well, how much positive economic impact can this bring to the community? And the point being, some places want you there, other places you want to be there in spite of them. Now, don't get me wrong, it is always possible that there is some type of disruption in certain less developed places. I mean, after all, the railroad was disrupted for a whole month in, oh no, wait, never mind, that was in Canada. Point being, I'm not trying to rip on Canada here. I mean, I'm a Canadian, so I like ripping on Canada, but point is, every place has their problems, and it's not localized to some faraway places. So in concluding, there's a few things I want to point out. One of which being there's always trade-offs between one place and another place. If anyone's telling you they have a perfect uranium setup of a place with size and grade and economics and scale and timeline to production, they're probably selling you a bit on one of them, because I've heard people always, if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. And I see it all the time. There's people that are ripping on certain um, jurisdictions or projects or whatever. And my natural instinct is to say, okay, what do you own? And then skewer it to pieces. But I don't, because I'm more diplomatic than that, I guess. But the point is, nothing is perfect. And so there's always some benefits and some drawbacks to every region, and just remember that. Remember that, and if you think you found something perfect, uh, do some more looking at it. Anyway, that was basically all I wanted to cover in today's video. I know there wasn't really much here, but I figured I knew a few uranium addicts that might want to hear me run through these details. Don't take it personally if that was you. We all need help. But until then, until next time, have a great day.